And I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top. Keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. The good life. Good life. Oh, good life. Good life. Good life. Good life.
Boom! Coming in hot kicks on a Wednesday. Cuz, what's going on, brother?
Not much, dude. You know, we were talking. We're all proud. We're both worked out this morning, but we're like
Yeah.
we're like middle aged now, and like right before the show, we were both like, like getting out all of the morning stuff. Like,
Yeah.
hold on, we need 5 minutes. I don't know what it is. I'm drinking coffee. It's not like in the.
Dude, honestly, I got this like supplement. It's got like relate in it, which is like you got your salt, you got all that stuff. It's got like a green drink in there. It's got like this other E3 live stuff. And I don't know if it's too much goodness because it was like, oh, it was like went to my chest or
Like
something.
sugar coating. Nice. Hey, by the way, dude, man, you Yinzer guys, you guys that come from that area, you stick together, man. You're on one of them, arguably maybe the most famous broadcaster in sports right now, I would say, at the moment.
Yeah.
You're on a show yesterday. You guys are boys, huh?
Yeah, well, listen, the Pittsburgh guys stick together, but McAfee, is a Pittsburgh guy, but the Pittsburgh guy done well. You know what I mean? And that show's great, man. He's done a great job over the years branding himself and just being himself. I think that's been the biggest thing. But all those guys in that show, AJ Hawk and all his buddies, all the guys that are on that show do a great job. So whenever McAfee asks me to come on, I love going on there talking baseball with him. Because he's not the biggest baseball fan. He's such a huge football fan. Wrestling, UFC, all that stuff. So, he's got Ty and the boys kind of coming in with the baseball questions.
Dude, he says it. He basically says it on the air that and he says it like while you're waiting to go on, I get to hear the beginning part of it, and he's always like basically like he's like, there's only one baseball guy we ever have on here. Like you are like the authority of baseball on a Pat McAfee show. It's amazing. And the other cool thing is what I love what he does is when one of his guys, because he's got that whole corral of dudes who are all great, and when one of them asks a good question, like AJ asked you a question yesterday, and you go, "That's a great question," and he turned and he's like, "What? Good." Like he gets so proud of them when they do something good, and then when they do something bad, he's like, "Come on, Timmy!" Like it's such a real. It's like hanging out with your boys. That show is great. They deserve everything. They deserve everything they're getting. I'm gonna say that. Nobody deserves to be a zillionaire, but if anybody does, that crew does a hell of a job. I say.
I think they've stayed true to who they are. That's the biggest thing about that show. Like, I think there's been networks that have said, "Okay, hey, come with us, and we're gonna change it up." He's like, "Nope, ain't coming." And he did it most of it on YouTube.
Yeah.
They had their own channel. They kind of did it that way. So he's done a great job of really sticking to who he is, and saying, "We don't need your money. We like what we're doing." And now they're paying him a ton of money. Now McAfee's everywhere, dude. He's on like College Game Day.
Unbelievable.
Dude, no, seriously, because I'm still a WWE fan, dude. He can wrestle. Like he's legit. Like sick athlete off the top rope, like Logan Paul is too. Like these guys are like good athletes. So when McAfee wrestles, it's not like, oh hey, it's Pat McAfee. Like no, he's giving you a show.
Yeah. Plus, everybody's like kickers. It's like not real football players. I feel like he was pretty much a football player that just happened to be a kicker. There's a video of him online just drilling people on tackles and stuff, like after kicks and whatever. He's great dude, great stuff. I love when you're on with him. It's really cool. Anyway,
thanks, brother.
Yeah. So last night, man, the Illadelph still going strong. What's your take?
Man, I tell you what, the Diamondbacks could be in trouble because the Phillies, at any point during the season, at the beginning, when they got off to a little slow start, they hadn't had Harper yet. Turner wasn't playing well. I really believe a couple months ago, I think it was at the beginning of August. Remember when the Philly faithful at the bank, they gave Turner that standing ovation for really no reason. It was like almost like the radio shows were like, hey, instead of boo and trade Turner, let's show him that we love him, huh? Dude, so they just gave him a standing ovation for really no reason. That at bat, I think he goes deep. And he's been one of the best players in baseball ever since. So, and now the Phillies have taken off and become one of the best teams in baseball for those last 2 months. I said Yankees there because we were the best team in baseball in the last month. The Yankees, don't forget about that. Anyway, they're not in. The Phillies are. But the biggest thing with the Phillies is that when you have, like you saw last night, Schwarber is back hitting a couple home runs. Trey Turner gets the game started in the first with a home run. Real Muto has a couple doubles, drives in 3 runs. Alec Boehm, Stott got a couple hits. Harper didn't even do much, and that lineup put up 10 runs. Right. That's why this team is scary. When they're all hot and they're pumping on all cylinders, and then you got Nola pitching the way he is and Wheeler pitching the way he is, like this team is to be reckoned with right now. And Rob Thompson's doing a great job of kind of lining up that bullpen and mixing and matching there. So the Phillies are dangerous right now, man. If last night showed so much of the firepower, that lineup can ambush you at any time.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say, you talk about throwing a 10 spot on. What I like about them also is any guy in that lineup, they are all such pros and vets, and they know the game and they know the moment. How many times during the year that like Harper 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, 2-run home run in the 8th on his 5th at bat. Right. Turner 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts, hits a double to lead off an inning. Schwarber could strike out 7 times in a row, but in a huge spot, I don't mind having him up there because he could blast you. They have it all, and they're pitching, man. They got some big game pitchers on that team too.
No, they really do. It's a great theme that I talked to some of the hitters, with the Yankees and stuff. Talking to my son or any hitters that I talk to, is outcomes are distractions. Outcomes are distractions. Like, oh, so what? You're 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Like, we got to go one pitch at a time. So you could come up with the game on the line. Like, you got to be able to be in that moment. You got to be able to go one pitch at a time. You got to be able to take a deep breath and slow down. You got to hunt a zone that you want to get. You got to look to hunt the fastball. Like, it doesn't change because you don't become a different player because you're 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. And that's why I say outcomes are distractions. If you're at the plate worrying about hitting a home run, distraction. If you're at the plate worrying about a fan yelling at you, distraction. If you're at the plate thinking about striking out, distraction. If you're at the plate and you're thinking about an article that was written about you, distraction. Like, the best players can lock into that moment and be great in that moment. No matter what's happened or what might happen, they're able to focus and put their energy right into that moment. And you said it best, Chinch. These guys, they might have a bat or two or a game or two that they're not great, but top to bottom in that lineup, you have so many veteran guys that have been there, done that, and they know they're always one pitch away from changing a game, and you're seeing that with the Phillies right now.
Yeah. Now, on the flip side, how did the D-backs get out of this? You face them, right? You guys, Yanks, on a series, so you game planned hardcore against them.
Yeah.
Them skills of yours. So how do they get out of this? Who's got to be the key to get them started? And by the way, it's gonna be pretty loud in that stadium too. Don't give those fans.
Yeah, no. Hopefully the Diamondback fans will come out. There's no doubt about it. I think one, a tough spot that they're in is they had Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly as their 1 and 2 starters, and those are their 2 horses, and they got beat both of those games by the Phillies. That's what I said. That lineup for the Phillies can beat anybody. So they're going to have to figure out their pitching, right? Obviously, they're going to have to get the bats going, man, because it looks like in this series they're going to have to bang with these guys because the Phillies are hot. When you're hot like that, that doesn't just go away. Right. And the Diamondbacks are going to have to find a way to bang with these guys. Carroll's got to get on. He's got to do his thing. Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, Tommy Pham. These guys have had great years, and they have some firepower of their own. But they got to get hot because I just got a feeling that Philly offense is not going to stop, and they're going to have to match them run for run.
Yeah, great point. Hey, one last point on this game. Fans out there, especially you younger cats. If you're ever considering running onto a field during a Major League Baseball game, you just need to look at what happened to this guy last night when he went out there and tried. Dude, this guy, look at how hard kaboom. It's unbelievable. Don't do it. Has that ever happened when you were on a field? Were there crazy fans?
I've definitely. Oh yeah, that's happened all the time. And the best is when the guy comes running and all of a sudden the security guards come out and you're like, oh, and the security guards as a player, like the security guards that are there, And when they can get a shot on a guy like that, it's good for the fans and the players. When they can, that was a that was like a Road Warrior hawk off the top rope right there, Goldberg spear. You know what I mean? That was incredible. Or Tito Santana in the '80s just hit you,
Right.
But I tell you what, man, I think Chick, there's some fun times when fans were on the field, and like I said, you almost feel bad for them because they're not only going to get bundled, they're going to get beat up, and then they're going to get taken to the jail that every stadium has, like the local jail, and they're just going to get roughed up.
Especially, call it the drunk tank.
Yeah, the drunk tank, especially in New York, dude. I'm sure you've seen people at Yankee Stadium.
About it.
That's not good.
No.
You don't want to end up in the drunk tank there.
Dude, all right. Let me tell you one super quick story that kind of relates to this. I would argue this is the most insane thing any fan has ever done on a baseball field. So right when probably a year into me and Jess starting to date, she found this cabin up in North New York, beautiful, like upstate New York. It was like a cabin in the woods. And these people had there's a nice lake and whatever, very cool. We were going to stay there for like 3-day weekend. Got a little boat out there, and you go, and these people probably own like 50 acres of land, whatever. So you go, and they give you the key at their main house, and then you go down your trail, drive, whatever. We get to this cabin. We're in this cabin. It's not very big. I think it was almost like a big studio thing. And everywhere we went, you open up like to look under the cabinet for something, whatever. There's a picture. Remember the '86 Mets when the dude parachuted in?
Oh
yeah. Remember that? Do you not remember?
Was that the '86 Mets?
That was the '86 World Series when the guy came down and said, "Let's go Mets," and he's
I remember that. That's right.
So everywhere we looked, I'm looking around and I'm like, why are they like big Mets fans? Why do they have such an affinity towards this guy who parachuted in to the '86 World Series? Finally, it was driving me crazy. Like there were pictures everywhere of this. So when we're leaving, we go to give the key back to the people, and I go, "I'm sorry, I got to ask you a question." I'm like, "Why do you have so many pictures of the guy who flew in?" And the girl goes, "You noticed that, huh?" She goes, "That's my brother." And I was like, "What?" And I'm like, "Your brother is," I forgot what they call him, like the flying fan. There's a name for him. I mean, it's legendary. First of all, if that happened now, he would have gotten shot out of the sky and just landed on the mound. But back then, it was a different time. It's 1986. She tells a story. So now remember, this is 1986, before cell phones, before anything like that. So, it's nobody's home. If you call somebody's house and nobody's home, there weren't even voicemails and stuff back then. So about 2 days before the game, the brother called the parents and the sister and was like, "Hey, listen, just so you know, watch the game, but I'm going to need your help after the Met game on Tuesday," or whatever day it was. And they're like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Sure enough, they're sitting there. Think about this. Think about if your family's just sitting there out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they go, "Oh my God, that's Teddy," or whatever the hell his name is. They watched on the TV her brother land on the mound at Shea Stadium during the World Series. They said they just grabbed him, took him straight to jail. I don't think he stayed in jail more than like a day. That was it. And this guy's a legendary Met guy. A crazy story.
Oh my God, you're right, dude. Though nowadays, 2023, that guy's not making it. As soon as he comes in, an F-15 might cut him off.
Yeah, just be a skeleton would land on the mound. Oh man. Anyway, all right. I digress. Let's move on to the. Now we got a big one here in the AL. How about this, dude? Interesting. Scherzer's going. Scherzer hasn't pitched in over a month. He's been banged up. I'm gonna ask you from your perspective. Like you're the hitting coach. We talk about this. How are you prepping for him? Are you being patient early? Are you jumping on him early? You don't know what his stuff's gonna look like. But on the flip side, he's one of the best to ever do it, and one of the best big game pitchers ever to do it.
Right. Yeah. If you're Alex Cintron and who's the hitting coach for the Astros, and you're going to game plan for Scherzer, I think a big thing with a guy like Scherzer who hasn't pitched in a while is we have to see how he's going to attack us, what his game plan is. Let's really pay attention those first couple hitters and see what he has, and let's see what his stuff looks like. I always encourage the guys, to come back and let's talk. Even if he punches you out first at bat, how's the slider doing? What's the spin like on it? Where are you picking it up? I think a big thing with a guy like Scherzer is he's going to make some mistakes tonight because I think he hasn't pitched in a little bit. So if I'm the Astros, we got to be patient. We can't chase on this guy and let him off the hook. We got to make sure that we get him up, push him out, push him out. I mean, like, don't bring him close to you where, he can really get in on you. Let's push him out and make him get the ball up where we can get our arms extended on him. But I think it's going to be interesting to see because you said it best, Chinch. He's a veteran guy. He's been here, done that. So him coming back is different than maybe a rookie coming back that's really never been in this situation. So, you just got to see what he has, man. And you got to see it early on. You got to start talking as hitters. And the game plan will no doubt be let's get him up out over the plate.
Right. The Astros can't go down 0-3, right? That's just it.
Nah.
They can't. They just can't. This isn't like the Red Sox and that it's not the same kind of roster, right? Like if they lose this game, it could be over tonight, don't you think?
Yeah, they got it. This is a must-win. Obviously, I'm Captain Obvious here, but this is a must-win for the Astros, no doubt. You can't go down 3-0, especially against the way the Rangers are playing right now. And I just think they have to find a way to win this one, get it to at least 2-1 to have a chance.
Yeah, and by the way, I was just reading up on this today. Do you realize how well constructed this Rangers roster is? I totally forgot that Jacob deGrom is on the team, and he's not. Like there was an article in the paper like, oh, ex-Met, has to watch from the sidelines. And I'm like, oh yeah, they have Jacob deGrom, who's arguably the best pitcher in the league. Right. He's not even near, and they're getting after it hard. I have one more question for you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and John Gray's back too. Like,
right.
We've been missing John Gray. That's why, you have to think about the great job that Chris Young did. He went when John Gray went down, when DeGrom went down, and then Eovaldi was struggling. He went down. They were like, what are we going to do? So he goes out, the deadline gets, and John Gray was hurt. Mm-hmm. So he ends up, John Gray comes back. He picks up Montgomery, and then he picks up Scherzer to try and just bridge the gap to get to the postseason because they were having such a good year. So you got to give a ton of credit. It just shows you over 162, there's going to be guys on the DL. There's going to be guys that get hurt. You have to have a roster of depth. You have to have depth in the rotation. You have to have depth in the bullpen, and you have to have depth in that lineup too. And I just really think that Chris Young has done a great job from the jump, knowing that even when he got Semien and Seager last year, knowing that we're going to need those guys and way more to get where we want to go.
Yeah, one other thing I noticed the other night, because they always cut up to Chris Young because it's awesome with him. It's like he's playing because he'll be like, he drops. You can see he's like, F yeah, and like whatever gets into the game.
Yeah.
You know what? Nobody really has in the shadows of that. Who else works for the Texas Rangers? Who's
Michael Young?
Exactly. I'm looking in the thing and I'm like, you got Chris Young, major league, legit pitcher out there. And you got Michael Young, who is arguably top 5 pure hitters of your generation.
Oh, there's
and
no
he's
doubt.
there too. And he is locked in. He is locked into that franchise too. He is heavily invested. He's always talking to the guys, right? We had him on last
Hey, don't forget, a guest of the Mayor's Office podcast. Go check that episode out.
Go check that episode out. Incredible.
The Michael Young episode a few months back was amazing. I saw the same thing. I saw Chris Young. I'm like, oh, there's Michael Young right behind him. But hey, dude, that's the thing, man. Get the best players that have been in that organization. Surround yourself with them, and because the players know it too. So when the players see great players that were only a few years back, man, it fires them up to see guys back. So having Michael Young as the right hand man of Chris Young in that box is pretty cool.
That just reminded me. Wait, were you with the Yankees during? Were you there for Old-Timers Day, or were you not there yet?
Yeah, I was there for Old-Timers Day, dude.
Tell me that story quick. How great was that?
That was awesome.
Yeah. What? Go.
That was first off. Shout out to my man Andy Pettit, who's like Pettit was around all the time. So I was kidding. It was like Old-Timers Day every couple of weeks where Pettit would come around. I'm like, what's up, dude? So Pettit was the best, man. But it was funny to see Pettit with all those guys. That '98 team came back. So like Jeter was back, and Joe Torre was back, Paul O'Neill and Tino Martinez and Scott Brocious and Darryl Strawberry. Who else was there? Who else was there? There was just so many good players, dude. It was they were all back. David Wells.
Wow.
David Wells didn't want to wear the Nike logo, so he comes over to me. He's like, Case, he's like, he put a piece of white tape on. He's like, hey, he's like, here's a Sharpie. Draw some lines on the white tape over the Nike.
To match the pinstripes.
Yeah, it's so funny. I know, it's so weird. But dude, it was one of the coolest moments of that day, bro. I'm coming down to the cages, getting ready to hit with some of the players, and I got no. I'm going down to the hitters meeting, and I look in Rob Kakuza's office, who's our clubby, and there's Jeter, Posada, and Torrey. And they're like, hey, come on in here, Case. So I go, what? I go, looks like they brought the big dogs in today, you know? And they're like, sit on down. So Joe has me pull up a chair. Me, Jeter, Joe, and Posada just go into like a really, really cool conversation about just, the state of the game, state of the Yankees, state of, just baseball in general. But just to have those three guys, kind of talking who are legends in that Yankee clubhouse was pretty cool. And it was cool, too, when Joe came out. Susan Waldman is the best, dude. By the way, having her,
listen to that.
She's been on our podcast too. She was my saving grace there too. Like, it was so nice to see familiar faces. But Susan did a great job of interviewing those guys on the field, and she brought Joe up. And when Joe got introduced, the whole team's clapping for him. It's just such a reverence for Joe Torre there, man. He's almost like a godly status.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, by the way, I cannot believe how good Jeter is on a pre and post game show. I didn't know man, talk about a guy who's finally gets to relax in his life, because he has been, at this level forever. He just seems like so chill now. And I'm like, man, this guy's got it all going on.
Dude, what a really, really, he's a great dude, man. But you're right. He's doing a great job on Fox with Poppy and A-Rod and Kevin and those guys. And Matty V was on there the other night, too.
Matty V's getting a lot of run on there nowadays. It's pretty
cool.
Oh, Matty V posted a picture. I guess Ortiz bought the spread for the pre and post game show the other night. It was like the ribs that Fred Flintstone puts on top of his car. Like, it was just like it was a plate of meat, like meat and like vegetables and stuff. I'm like, oh man. And I talked to Matty V the other day. He's like, dude, these guys bring some food in there. He's like, I've gained like 50 pounds since I've been doing these things. Anyway, well, it's good postseason so far. You want to see some competitive juices flowing starting tonight with some of these teams. You want good series,
you want good. However, you want the Astros to fight. You want the Astros to punch back tonight, no doubt about it.
However, you're looking at the moment. I think the two best teams are I think the Rangers and the Phillies at this moment would make a pretty intense World Series. That's like a pick 'em almost to me.
Yeah, well, one thing too. If you like offense. Mm-hmm. That's two powerhouse offenses going head to head, which would be pretty cool. Obviously, pitching wins you championships, but those offenses, that's must-see TV when you get those two offenses going. But we'll see what happens. Can't count out the Astros, can't count out the D-backs. It's still gonna, they still got a lot of fight left. It's the first 1-4, not 2. So we'll see what happens.
Spoken like a real coach you are now. All right, let's have fun watching the games tonight. We'll be back at it tomorrow, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we're back out tomorrow, and interested to see what happens. Thanks for everybody for listening. Chichi, love it, brother. Great to be back at it with you, brother, and I'll see you tomorrow.